everyone, my name is Francesca, and for the Three Worlds project I looked at Matthew chapter 7 verses 1 through 6, and this was a section of text that focuses on the subject of judgment. So from a literary perspective, basically this text is very literal in saying don't judge others. I have my notes right here, so that's what I'm looking down at. So the main point of the passage is that we can't judge others for the reason that we are not perfect ourselves, and that God is the only one who can judge because he is perfect. So where this fits in with the rest of the text surrounding it is Jesus is talking about how to live a Christian life. So before chapter 7, he talks about how to properly worship God and live a Christian lifestyle. He talks about almsgiving, prayer, fasting, before moving into the topic of judgment. So where this fits in with the rest of the text, I think it makes a lot of literal sense of where this is placed, because it goes along with the main theme of how to live a Christian lifestyle, and that includes not judging others. So for the historical world, most of this is very literal in that there's not a lot of historical context that needs to be understood to understand this passage, except for the last part, which I'm going to read, which says, "Do not give what is holy to dogs, and do not throw your pearls before swine, or they will trample them underfoot in turn and maul you." And when I was reading this passage, this kind of stood out to me as like kind of an interesting way to end a passage that had been pretty literal with this, and this is where understanding historical context fits in. So I did some research, some of it from the footnotes of the Bible that we have for class, and some of it was just Google. But basically, and Matthew chapter 7 verse 6 says, "Do not give what is holy to dogs." The footnotes explain that in this context, holy is referring to the meat that was used for sacrifice, and don't cast pearls before swine. Pearls were the most expensive jewel of the time, and they were also considered to be a symbol of truth. So back to do not give what is holy to dogs. Dogs were viewed as scavengers, and holy is referring to the sacrificial meat, so this is different than us just like slipping our pet dog a table scrap. This would be very insulting at the time to give the sacrificial meat to dogs. And then swine also were viewed as very unclean and as scavengers. So the historical context kind of helps us understand that this is a metaphor where the dogs and the swine represent impure people, or people who don't want to know God. So basically this metaphor of don't give what is holy to dogs and don't cast pearls before swine, Jesus is warning us not to share God's truth with people who are against God. So onto the contemporary world, I feel like this passage is pretty straightforward. Although it was written thousands of years ago, I think it's still very easily applicable to our modern life, because the main message is just not to judge other people. So Christians are called not to judge others because we aren't perfect, so how can we condemn other people's flaws when we ourselves have flaws? And God is the only one who is fit to judge us because he is the only one who is perfect. In fact, in verse 7:5, Jesus calls those who judge to be hypocrites. So although the things that we may judge people on look different from what they would have been, when this was written, the overall theme of don't judge others is still really fitting for our modern life and is easily applicable to our contemporary world. Thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to watching all of your videos.